Facebook family and friends. What's happening, everybody? Good morning. It's Saturday. We're getting it in. Uh, we just went through the holiday season, and holiday season is pretty rough for a lot of people. So I think we're gonna restart. Sammy and I were talking this morning, and he feels like it would be a good day to go back to step one, talk a little bit about recovery on the first step. Hold on one second. I'm having technical difficulties on my end trying to get this into. All right. Connect to that. Let me know, you guys, chat, if I'm breaking up at all. I got a new service, and so I want to make sure everything's going well. Let's get Sammy in here. What's up, my brother? Good morning. Hello? Sammy's on mute. I think he's on a call. All right.
Well, I was on a call.
Oh, okay. There he is. There he is. What's going on this morning, brother?
Good morning, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Is this our first get together of 2023?
It is. It is.
Where's everybody at?
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking at my bang. I'm looking at my page right now as we do this because I do both. And
is there any way for me to share my screen through this program?
Yeah, go down to the present.
Oh, okay, I see it. Dude, we have a freaking farm around here.
Dude, all those animals you got, I see, bro.
God, we're making it happen, and the house looks pretty good. But I was out there and I don't know if you guys got rained on pretty heavy. We got really, dude. When it rains here, let me tell you, it rained 4 days ago. In that little culvert in the back of my house.
Yep.
Has still been draining for 4 days. Like,
wow.
Our pond is completely full and overflowing again.
Holy crap.
I was out there in the front of the house in the rain, getting wet, and digging out leaves. Oh, gosh, it's been one. It's been one.
Here. So, with that pond, how deep is that pond?
I don't think I think the deepest part is maybe 10 feet, if that. But I can't tell if that's just silt on the bottom, but we can't really drop a line that far down.
Really?
Yeah, it's maybe 10, 12 feet at the most.
That's still pretty deep for a pond in your yard. I mean, you got a pond in your yard, bro.
In our field. Dude, I take Coda out there and it's black. This looks like a black deer.
He's so big, man.
Dude, him and Mata are starting to get along.
Okay.
He still tries to pull that I'm hovering over you type of shit. We have to check him a little bit, but he's starting to get better.
Who, Mato?
Well, Mato is completely like, dude, these dogs, we'll walk them side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and they act like they cannot see each other. Like they are literally like avoiding eye contact.
Morning, Jess. Morning, Tony.
What's up, fellas? What's up, Jess?
So they're that adverse to seeing each other, huh?
I think they're just nervous because they've been checked for the last week, about any kind of aggression.
Right.
And so they're just avoiding eye contact. But yesterday, Coda, Mato was sleeping in our room, and Coda walked up to him and just sniffed him, like nose to nose, sniffed him, sniffed his butt, and walked away. Like that's a huge. And Mato didn't do anything but look at him, like sit there. This morning he greeted him, but every so often we can't tell if he's trying to play, if Coda's trying to play or if he's gonna try to assert dominance. But we're just checking anything where anytime he stands over Mato, we're just checking him. That's right, brother. Bear shirt.
Jesus, this damn bear stuff.
You shouldn't have a problem with the Bears. There's no reason for you to have a problem with the Bears.
I won't say I got a problem with them. Just
right, because I mean, you support 9 football teams, and I appreciate that.
One.
We used to call that 11 points when I was growing up. You know, when you played for both sides. But,
just the Chargers, bro. Just the Chargers.
Oh yeah, remind me after this. I gotta run a name past you. Some guy said he's your Hefe's brother. Hit me up.
Okay.
He said he knows me, but I don't remember him. So I was like, okay, whatever.
All right.
Anyway, boom. Happy New Year's to y'all. It's post New Year's. Yeah, that's right, Tony. You tell him to shut up. I don't care what came after that. Just shut up.
Oh, poopy head's on here talking, tough now.
Cállate,
el hocico. Head.
Did your mom ever say cállate el hocico? Like, did she ever say that to you?
No.
Dude, that's when you knew you were about to get a boomerang to the head with a bat.
My mom was pretty direct. It was cállate la pinche boca, amigamente. Like, now.
Te voy a meter un chingazo que nunca vas a olvidar. Man. You ever hear that one?
No. Well, maybe once or twice.
For those non-Spanish speaking viewers, that means shut up or I'm going to give you a beating that you're never going to forget. And it wasn't just a threat. It was like looking into the crystal ball of things to come.
Yeah. The pain you would receive.
Like, I will give you an ass whooping you will never forget. I wrote a whole book about a series of those ass whoopings. Literally, I got a book about a series of ass whoopings I'll never forget.
Hey, Tony ain't joking. Mom still does do that.
Well, listen, it was post New Year's. We're in the post New Year's season, post holidays, and I know for some, and even for me, there was moments where the holidays are just. Let me put it this way, man. I was filling out paperwork on Christmas Day for family fucking court. And my kids knew I was filling out paperwork because, they're asking me what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm filling out paperwork. But, they know what's going on. I don't lie to them. I don't put it in their face, but I'm not going to lie to them. And when I got done, here it is on Christmas Day. It reminded me of when I was probably about 10. I think I was like 9 or 10. My niece, who was underage, was giving birth. No, my sister, who was underage, was giving birth to my niece. So I think my sister was like 14 or 15. And my parents told me to stay home with my brothers, my 2 younger brothers. And so for Christmas, I was reading my brothers a book, like a storybook, trying to make Christmas special for them. Here I am, just a kid myself, knowing there's nothing under the tree for me. And for some reason, having to fill out this paperwork because I needed to get it out by the next day. And I didn't get it until like the day before New Christmas Eve. It just took me back to that moment where I remember. And then, of course, with that memory of sitting there with my brothers, trying to make their Christmas great, even though I'm being brutalized. And even though I know there's nothing on the tree for me, I'm trying to make it great for them. And then here I am filling out this paper. For some reason, it gave me this flashback of that era in my life. And it was a pretty intense flashback. Nothing like that cripples me, but in the moment, you just feel all the sadness and the depression. And what it did was remind me of all the freaking holidays that sucked, right? And then it reminded me of all the holidays that sucked after that. Even, I don't know about you, man, but holidays just didn't mean shit to me when I got out of prison.
Yeah.
It wasn't something to look forward to, dude. And I'm serious, man. I hadn't had a Christmas that I wasn't either beaten or locked up for until I was 30 years old. So, and that's not an exaggeration. And so by the time I'm out and I'm 30, it's just another fucking day. Or I remember where I spent the last Christmas, which was in a cell. Or I remember when I spent Christmas getting my ass beat. Or my parents faking me out like there were presents under the tree and there weren't any. Right? Like shit like that. I get it. The fucking holidays can suck. Now, I want to say this. I had that moment on Christmas. I shed a few tears with my wife because I was sad that my kids were also having to live with some bullshit on the holidays because of other people's doings.
Yeah.
Right. But it was a moment. It didn't become the whole day. That's a critical piece here. It's so in many ways, some of these scars don't ever go away, but we learn to manage them and we learn to carry them, better.
I
So
absolutely get that, bro. Like if it wasn't for the kids, you know what I mean, and the extended family, we really wouldn't do the holidays. Like Lizzie and I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. We don't celebrate. I don't believe in.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the fairy tale or the mythos. So celebrating Christmas isn't a big thing for me. You know what I mean? It's not an important date. But I think our incarceration overshadows all of that, right? Like, I think it's more not the trauma of what we went through as children through Christmas so much as it's the extended years of incarceration. I even grieve differently. Like, and this is something I've been noticing as I'm coming up to the anniversary of the loss of Junior, right? Like, even my grieving process isn't normal in comparison to the general public. And people will talk to me about it. And, some people are like, man, you're just cold. And it's not that. It's that I spent 20 years unable to grieve for people as I lost them openly. That, like people be like, well, I just need this one piece of thing that belonged to that person. I never had that ability, right? Like I lost my dad, I lost my brother, I lost both my grandfathers, I lost multiple like super close people in my life while I was incarcerated. And I didn't get a piece of hair, I didn't get a ring, I didn't get a locket, I didn't get a picture, I didn't get to go to the funeral and say goodbye. So I grieve differently. And it's something that I'm just now starting to understand. And that all comes from that extended incarceration that we went through, right? Like you did 16 years straight on one bit. I did 18. Both of us had multiple juvenile bits. We had to learn to deal with it differently, even if we didn't realize we were learning how to deal with it differently, right? We were incarcerated. You don't break down and cry in front of your boys. You don't break down and cry in front of your enemies. You don't break down and show emotion when you suffer, right? The holiday seasons were the same, right? That you had to go through your holiday no matter how you felt, as if nothing was different or wrong. Like you might have told one of your boys as you walk by, hey, Merry Christmas, and handed them a pack of smokes, right? But there was no sitting down together, unwrapping presents, bonding, things of those nature. And the same with grieving, right? We didn't have that ability. And so we changed, right? Whether that was for good or for bad, I don't know, right? Like I know I'm going through a grieving process. I know I'm still grieving, but I definitely don't grieve openly in the way that other people do, and I do talk about it. And I talk about my boy and my baby, I talked to my Uncle Mingo last night for the first time in a long time. And he's sober. First time in 50 years. And, that was part of my discussion with him was how I was grieving, right? And how I was working through it without using my normal means of coping mechanisms, right? And it was funny because I was like, you just got to know how to suffer well. You just got to be able to go through it and understand that it can't be any worse than that. Right? So it has to be better. It has to get better. Can't get any worse.
You said something. You have to be willing to go through it. You're going to go through it whether you're willing or not.
Right.
The difference is.
Oh no, that's not true. That's not true. I can check out.
But you're still going through it. That to me, that's suffering poorly. That's a version of suffering poorly. Denial, avoidance, dissociation, all of that is a version of going through it but there are still consequences
Absolutely.
to that, right? You're going to go through it, right? You're gonna go in your cell, whether you make them suit up or not. You end up in your cell. You're gonna get out of the cell, whether they suit up or not, right? It's how you're gonna do it versus this illusion that we can avoid. You can look at everything me, you, Tony, and everyone else like us did to avoid doing certain shit.
And still did it.
Well, look at what it cost us, right? Look at what it cost us, dude.
Right.
But I'll tell you, what me, you, Tony are talking about watching Tony, Tony's really related because he's been there and done that with us. What we're talking about is also known as post-traumatic stress disorder, or what I would say post-traumatic stress injury. It's not a disorder. It's an injury that is a result of conditions, right? It's not maladaptive if what you're forced to adapt to is like a mal environment. If you're being subjected to human rights violations for decades, you're not maladapted. There is no right way to adapt to abuse, to neglect. There's no right way to shoulder that. So for example, I have a brother who went on to become a federal marshal. I'm going to tell you, as good as that looks on the surface, it's also a direct result of the family abuse and dynamics that we both were exposed to. We had two different reactions, but emotionally, we are both deeply scarred. We're both deeply wounded. And we express that differently. And I can tell you, out of everyone in my family, I'm the only one that talks about the abuse, the mental illness, the trauma. Everyone else tries to act like none of that happened. Do you know what I mean?
How does that affect the dynamics of your guys' relationships?
We don't have one. My mom raised my brothers to hate me. Even though they saw firsthand the abuse, my mom forced them to abuse me, like physically abuse me. Like she forced them to beat me when they were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Even though they remember all of this, I'm still the bad guy in the family.
Right.
The reason, and it was what I put in my book and talk about, my mom made my brothers believe that I ran away at 11 because I didn't love them. And I mean, that's not a hypothesis. That was her explanation to them over the years. He ran away because he didn't love you. And that's just more trauma.
Yeah.
And so I think I know for one of the reasons I went to school to learn about mental health is I wanted to understand what happened to me and my family, what happened within my family. And for me, what I know happened to me is I became a symbol of violence because when I saw my mom rule the world, so to speak, it was through violence. And I'm like, oh, if I become more like that, people will leave me alone.
Yeah.
Underneath all of that toughness was just not wanting to be hurt anymore, abused, or be a victim. I remember one of my vows that I made when I was 11. I was like, I'll never be anyone's punching bag. I'll never be at the mercy of someone's power and control. At 11, I was making these kind of promises to myself, and I set out. It took me a long time to get there, but I set out to become like a hitman in my own mind. Like to prove to everyone you can't hurt me. You don't want to hurt me because I'm going to hurt you more. We've been through these discussions so many times, right? So, it's crazy. All my brothers, and I talk about one brother became invisible. He was so low maintenance, no one ever needed to tend to him. The other one became a shining superstar. I became the black sheep, and my sister became like the martyr of the whole family, right? Like we all have. All of this is a direct result of fucking abuse.
Right.
Right. And so, we grieve differently. We behave differently. We experience emotions differently. Like you were saying, it boils down to that, right? Like we have all these different ways of coping and managing. And I saw Tony like, agreeing with it. Yeah, just another fucking holiday. Here's what I got to say to all of us right now. We have to make and this is why I think step one is so important today. We have to make a decision that these lingering scars that affect our present day, in the way we experience this, because both you and Tony said something that I used to say. You said, if it wasn't for my kids, Tony said, if it wasn't for my grandkids, at some point we've got to come to terms. And this is probably like the last piece, like you were alluding to. You have to realize you deserve it too. Right?
Yeah, no doubt. I just don't hold any weight with the Christmas season. So for me, that isn't for me, right? I don't know about Tony, but
me neither.
Christmas and saying not if it wasn't for my kid, we just celebrate it because the kids enjoy it, right? They want presents just like their friends want presents. So we do the Christmas thing. Lizzie and I don't avoid it because of my trauma or her trauma. Because we don't do Valentine's Day. We don't do Sweetest Day. It's just no.
How did you get out of that? I need to know, because Julie makes me go. Tell me your secret.
I randomly bring home, like I go to Pick and Save for like $30. I can bring home a vase of flowers of like 80 flowers that I can set up myself, and I do my own flower presentations, and I make them myself. I randomly bring things home during the month and the week to tell her thank you and that I love her, without it having to be a special day.
Okay, we're gonna mute this. You're gonna stop trying to make us look bad out here, Monte. Stop.
And Sweetest Day. Well, listen, I'm pretty fucking lucky, so I'm trying to make sure I stay that lucky, right? Like I gotta edge the odds. She's gonna find some young 38-year-old Mexican named Iglesias or something, and move to San Juan or to.
You know what Julie told me the other day? I don't know why she was reminiscing. She said, you had a bag of issues, but you had a bag of bitches.
But like, we got to do what we got to do once we get there. It's just like, hey, let me butter the biscuit a little bit, man. Make sure I'm still in there. I love you, Amy.
Listen,
let's say hi to our guests real quick. We got a bunch of people on here. We got 15 people.
So let's go to the top. We got Tony. There's like 8 Tony Balonies in there.
Right. Jess, good morning. Tony, good morning. Samantha, I love you. Michelle,
your last name is Baloney. Why is your last name Baloney?
Because he's Tony Baloney, the poopy head. Samantha Martin, I love you, babe. My cousin Michelle's on here. What's up, Michelle? I love you. My cousin Maria, Little Mag, Jessica, Tony Baloney,
Sean Maxton,
Amy May, I love you. That's my brother Sean. He's actually living with us right now. He's the brother I told you.
Why does Maria's name remind me of Hormel? The Hormel canned goods.
I love you, Evie. I'm gonna Bobby. Mike, what's up, nephew? I see you, my brother. I seen
Tony. I need an explanation. I need an explanation of why your last name is Baloney. And why is it spelled with an A instead of a Y?
And there's my hermano Bobby. What's up, bro? So let me talk to you real quick about Sean. Sean was that brother that I told you after not seeing him since I got out, reach out to me while in and said, I need to change my shit. I need to change my life. Every time I go back to Shawno, I end up in trouble. I end up getting fucked up. He was like, I just need help. Could you see if you could find me? He asked me if I could find him a sober living environment, home, or somewhere in IC. Yeah, so he's living with us now. And let me tell you, that brother is annoying as fuck. He's always trying to help, and he's always trying to be, clean. Dude, Mateo traumatized him, bro. Traumatized him. So I'm sitting here at my computer, working on the computer. I was playing zombie games or some shit. And Sean's sitting next to me on the edge of the bed talking to me. Lies. Hey, Tater creeps in the door butt naked, attacks him from behind, wraps his legs around his body from behind, grabs him in a chokehold, pulls his head back, butt naked, and licks the entire top of his head. 15 years in prison, and he comes home to get SA'd by my 3-year-old. I don't know what to do in this house, bro. Like, I ain't got time for problems, man. I live with one. But Sean, like, that when we're talking about learning how to suffer well, learning how to do something different, Sean showed whole different show, bro.
Yeah.
Sean showed right there and then by saying, hey man, I gotta find something different. I gotta do something that isn't gonna put me in danger again. I know nobody down there. I know nobody in that area. Can you help me get back up and find me somewhere to go? So he came here. Like Lizzie and I had
right into the fire.
Right. Lizzie and I spent a couple of days talking about it and you know, talking about our comfort level. She was okay with it. She's loving him, you know, just as much as I do. He's a part of the family. Welcome home, Sean. Welcome to the pits. This is hell. Good luck. Like, if you really want to know what it is to sink or swim, this house will teach you.
It's a whole lot of sinking.
Man, like, what do you do when a 3-year-old jumps on you naked and licks your head while putting you in a chokehold from behind? Like, he had a rear naked choke, literally rear naked choke, right? Because he was butt naked. Just grab him from back of the head and pull. Hey, bro, it was like watching MMA with a midget, right? Like, because he got his arm around his throat and pulled back and then just licked his whole head. I was like, and no one taught him that. Like, no one taught him that. I thought he was gonna relapse right there and then. Like,
see, and this is maybe next show is about parenting because nobody taught him not to do that. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah. We'll leave him with you for a couple months. Let's see how it goes.
So listen, I want to get back to what I said, in which you so professionally deflected from. Me, you know, I've been doing this a long time with that. Nice try. I'll let you go, but I just got to bring you back because I need you to be able to do it so that you can see that you did it. Because if I cut it off before you do it, you won't believe that you did it. I'm going to repeat what I said to you, and I'm doing it for Tony's sake and anybody else. You deserve the happiness that comes from celebration, even though you were denied all the happiness and the celebration. And I'm going to tell you why I think this is an important lesson. It was why it was important to me and why I think it's important for other formers like us. Just because we were denied that and that became the norm doesn't mean that that's the way we should have experienced life. We couldn't help that that's the way life went. And just like when you lose your freedom, you tend to value your freedom way more. I want us to think about what we lost with the experience of normal holidays and realize that it can make us appreciate these holidays more. The holidays, I don't know how many people actually celebrate Christmas for religious reasons. I don't know a lot of people that do that. I think a lot of people do it because it's a chance, it's a time that we all have time off. We all get to take some breaks from work, right? It's a time when most of the community gets together. It's a time to celebrate our relationships and to bring peace to people and to receive peace from people, right? And here's something where we have to be empathetic for people like I haven't finished reading Amy's comment, but I know Amy's never been to prison, right? So Amy actually looks forward to the holidays. And I'm sure not all the holidays were enjoyable for her, but she looks forward to the holidays, right? It's weird to people when people like me, you, and Tony show up and don't have a relationship with the celebration, and it makes them wonder what's wrong. Right now, they have to start taking care of us in a different way.
Right.
And I realize, and that's early. That's like early stage change for me. Like those days when at the time, my wife asked me why I was working on Christmas. I'm like, because they needed me. And she says it's Christmas, and she slammed the phone down. I had no idea. This was my first married Christmas.
Right.
And I had no fucking idea I was supposed to be home not working. Right, I had no idea. I just didn't have and so when I came home, I had no clue why she was mad. No clue. I didn't understand it. And then she just laid into me. And then all of that went away when I said, I had no idea. I've never been through this. This is my first time. And I got, for the listeners, and I'm sure there are people who relate to this, I had no Christmas, no birthday from the time I was born until the age of 29 without enormous suffering in my life. It wasn't until I was 30 that I started to experience the other side of life in a normal way. And so it was a lot of adjusting, right? So I want me, you, and Tony, and guys like us, women included, to focus on this year, to let ourselves be a part of it, other than for somebody else, right? Other than for our kids, other than just for the sake of it, to be normal, but to start trying to just heal that denial, that wound that came from the denial of those experiences, right? It's going to enhance the quality of your life if we can try to do that. Meaning, when you're able to do that for yourself, that what you can give away during those times will double, triple, quadruple. It'll just exponentially come from you more. You'll be able to give out way more. Because for me, it's like, I'm with you. It's not about the religious connotation of I don't celebrate it for those reasons. It's because it's a time of joy for me and my family to come together. We spend time cooking, which I fucking love. I love cooking. I love to see the joy in the faces of the people that eat my food, because that's a part of my love language, right?
Yep.
Giving that away, right?
Yep, that's why I cook.
I enjoy the memories, the fucking wrestling, the music, the dancing, whatever, putting up the tree together as a family, putting the angelita on top of the tree, at the end of it. We even love taking the tree down. Now we have a new tradition. We buy a new tree so that we can burn it at the end of the holidays. And we took it outside and watched this thing torch up. And this year we forgot to take the plastic base off of it, and so we burned the new base we just bought for it. Right? That is a part of the healing, which is a part of the recovery. It's not okay to be this far into recovery for anyone and still feeling like I'm still in the same drudgery of the holidays as I was when I was locked out. That doesn't serve anyone.
See, it doesn't seem like drudgery to me, but I absolutely understand what you mean, and what you're saying about the celebration and the memories that we build with that. Hold on. I was 51 before I embraced my birth. Tony's talking about something that happened 20 years ago. 51.
Are you talking about when you were whooped by that little Asian person? Is that just
we're not going to talk about that at all?
That's a yes or no question. That's a yes or no question.
No, we're not talking about that at all.
Oh, okay. I want to
discuss.
I think your listeners deserve to know what happened to you.
When my mouth wrote a check I couldn't cash for like a 3'7" Asian man who let me remind you turned out to be well versed in the martial arts, and actually a somebody. But we won't discuss that. No, I do get it, bro. We enjoy the holidays with the kids for the same reason, right? Like, we enjoy building those memories, waking up on Christmas morning, watching their eyes light up. We don't do the huge Santa Claus thing. We do one gift every year comes from Santa. The rest comes from mom and dad and family. The kids understand we work hard to make those gifts. But we watch Wizard of Oz every year. We watch Miracle on 34th Street. We do all the shit that we're supposed to do, right? Like, I enjoy that. And I enjoy the Christmas spirit. I like the spirit of love and giving, and the cooking part is big for me. Lizzie got me a sous vide machine for Christmas.
What's that?
It's a precise.
Stick in your butt?
No. You stick food in it in a sealed bag, and it cooks it slow. Just look up sous vide.
How do you spell it?
SOUSVIDE.
How the fuck was I supposed to look that up?
Just go, hey Google, look up videos about sous vide. and it'll teach you.
Why does that sound like a pornographic word? I don't know. I don't get it.
No, Google. Shut
yeah,
up.
Google over here's talking.
Yeah, I got mine over here going too.
Dude, you looked it up. I swear to God. It hurt you.
So this is what professional chefs do when they're cooking a steak to a precise temperature, right? Like if you want something to be exactly 134 degrees before you,
It pulled it up. Fuck you, Google.
Before you sear it, then that's what you do. And Lizzie knows I'm really into it. I've been watching a guy named Guga, and it's amazing. So I wanted to try it and didn't even know it. Lizzie bought me one for Christmas. So I'm geeked about that. But I think for me, I try to, since I've been home from prison, I've tried to create a special memory every day that I possibly could, as if it was Christmas, as if it was my birthday, as if it was Valentine's Day, as if it was something, right? I try to pick something in my life on a daily basis. That's why we do, every night I do Happy Thoughts story and a song, right? So every night of my children's lives, before we go to sleep, we discuss what made us happy today, right? Everybody has to give a happy thought for today. Everybody. Like, you have to tell me what made you happy today, because your final memory is going to be something happy for this day, right? So every night before bed, we talk about it. Like, my happy thought yesterday was dinner with the family. Danica's was playing. Mateo was torturing his sisters and, casting demons from hell into this earth. Bringing them forth, like, I don't know, like that's important to me. So for me, like holidays, I want every day to be my holiday. I want every day to be my celebration. I want every day to remind me that I'm here and I'm alive and I'm okay. It's hard.
Don't stop there.
It's hard but necessary. But it's hard to what I meant by it's hard to take any certain day, like any single day, and say this day is better than those other days, right? Like every day I want to be that celebration. So I try
That's great. But if that's the way it is, then nothing is ever special, right? If every day was special,
it's all special. Every day is special. I don't believe that. I don't think
it becomes normal. It's not.
I don't
everything
believe that.
Can't be special.
I don't
everything
believe
can't
that.
Be special.
That's like so.
Can't. It's not possible.
Buddha said, "Love isn't finite; it's infinite." Right? Buddha said, "Giving isn't finite; it's infinite." There's an infancy to happy. There's no limit on happiness. There's no limit on pain. There's no limit on suffering. There's no limit on joy, right?
There's no limit on ignorance. Let's not forget.
I don't think it's beyond hard, but absolutely necessary, bro. You got it. Kirk, hey, my brother Kirk, I love you, bro.
Listen, all I'm saying is, Monte, I appreciate your philosophy, and I think we should be living every day to the fullest. And I do. Right. I do. And I believe in manifestation. But there's nothing wrong with turning it up a notch on any given day.
I agree.
As a community, right?
I agree.
This is what's important, because it's a chance to do it together in a special way, right? These become culture. We need culture. You know what you need in culture? Let me tell you why this is important and why it's normal. Because to have good culture, you have to have good rituals.
Yeah.
You've got to have the rituals, right? And you can have these things like you were talking about at night, where everyone says those rituals are important. Mm-hmm. Just like the day of a celebration, even though you might live your life to the fullest, right? Every day, a day of a ritual is something that brings, it's what's going to be remembered in some ways when we're gone, right? It's the legacy. People will remember us for the day-to-day stuff, and they'll also remember us for these moments when we came together and
baking cookies for Christmas and pie.
We're rituals.
Together. Yeah.
And how do we know we're ritualistic? Because even before we had self-awareness, we were doing it through our games, through street life.
Oh yeah.
We started to anticipate it in prison. We have rituals in every aspect of our community, and these are important. And for people like Tony and Sean, we have to come to realize is that we have to create new traditions and new rituals. My family didn't give me tradition as for around holidays. There's some traditions they gave me, like I love flour tortillas because that's what my
Yep.
mom used to make, right? But they didn't give me the communal traditions that were important for me to feel a part of a greater community or my family. I'm creating those new ones. We've now burned a tree 2 years in a row. We've said we should do this every year. We're creating our own because there's nothing there for me to bring to this family when it comes to that, and so, and this new home. So Sean, yeah, and I was wondering, should we can we bring Sean on? Does Sean want to come on I want to talk to Sean for 2 minutes.
I'm gonna send him an invite right now.
All right. And so I think, and how long has Sean been back?
Just over a month.
Yeah. So this is early stage, very early stage for him. And so this conversation is even more important for Sean,
Sean,
because
click that link I just sent you.
These are all the insights me and you have had to get to over the years, but for me, there was nobody to help me like I was there for you. I had to do this shit alone.
Yeah.
And the point of formers is so that we don't have to do this shit alone.
Right.
We can challenge our thinking.
Oh, no. You can't be in here when you do it. You're going to have to click it from your room. He comes in here with his phone. He's like, I'll do it in here. You're going to just go away. That poor dude, man, he's been through so much. I've traumatized him, man.
Man, it's crazy because I agree with everything you're saying. I just want to say there's a +1 to it as well, right? Like there's
I dig that.
It's a +1 to that because you already know how I live and how I fight to keep a positive heart, a positive mind, no matter what I'm facing. I try to take the high road every chance I get, even when I'm dealing with backstabbing ass,
Yeah.
I
know.
And so I just try to do the best I can. And, and there's a benefit to that because I go to bed happier. I get sad momentarily, not for bouts, like long bouts. Unless there's like a real life trauma going on, then it takes a few days. But, I'm normal. I think I'm normal in that sense. We just carry things. He says, I've had some special things that I'll remember for years to come. Yeah, helping others who are struggling. Maria, one other way of thinking about that, because Maria's talking about positive is better than negative. Really what we're talking about.
I sent the wrong Sean the link. He just messaged me. What are you doing? Hold on, let me.
Here's the way to think about this, Maria, which I think is because my uncle say there is no positive or negative. There just is and there isn't. The way we can talk about this to embrace the spirit of positive and negative is expansive and contractive, right? And so we are either expanding or contracting throughout our lives. Contracting is suffering poorly. Expanding is suffering well, right? And so PTSD, mental health problems, depression, trauma, all of those things tend to want to make us to contract. That's why we, raise your hand in the chat if you've ever have or still have trust issues, right? Those trust issues are really what make us contract, right? And so we say shit like, I'll never love anyone again because I just keep getting hurt. Or I won't trust anyone because I've been betrayed every time I've trusted someone. And so what it does, instead of making us open to the world, it says, I'm going to trust, I'm going to talk to, I'm going to let in fewer and fewer and fewer to the point where you don't even trust your own cat or the mailman. Like you're just, no one is in your box that you can trust, right? That's contractive. That means your world and your environment gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
I got a couple in the green room.
Let's bring them in. We're going to talk to Sean. What's up,
What's up,
Sean?
brother? What's going on, brothers?
What's
You
up,
are
bro?
as ugly as Montez said you were. God damn.
Thank you.
Join
And
the
he's
ugly
Oneida.
club. We're all ugly. Look at us.
And he's Oneida.
Can't
Look at how
bring
big his
Tony on. There's
dome
too much
is.
ugly in one room. Sean, welcome home, brother. I just wanted to recognize you, man, and say, you know, we're glad that you're here, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's been well, it's a learning process.
It is.
And don't be mocking me on my shades.
That was the least of your problems in my mind. Listen, Sean, I wanted to tell you, man, a couple of things. You know, me and Monte have been on this path for a long time with helping brothers come home. I think you're in a good place to learn from someone who's learning and has learned a lot on how to help brothers come home. You know, that's one. Two, I'm trying to keep up with your comments, you know, and I want you to know, like, I wanted to take a moment to pay tribute to your vulnerability about what you're sharing about your past and how hard it is to forget that in lieu of what you're going through now. And we've been there and we want to support you through that, right? And to Monte's point early on in the show, the only way to it is through it, right? Like
Exactly.
there's no other path for you other than the one you're on right now. You have to go through this.
And being around the people that are living it.
I think that's a big part of it, right? That's why formers exist, because we're trying to support us coming out of these environments, out of these experiences, more importantly, out of these lifestyles altogether, because that old life became a lifestyle for us. And so it's like, how do we get through that? How do we, if you had to change anything, it's an entire lifestyle, and that's not easy. And,
no, it's not.
One thing that Monte learned very early on was there are things that you can use from your past that will now be strengths that can help you through this life. So it's not like your entire past is useless.
No.
There's so much in there that you're going to be able to pull from and salvage and bring forward that's going to help prepare you for this life. It's just knowing how to change the way we used it, right? Like you've always had, in some ways, as an analogy, you've always had superpowers. We're just going from using them for bad for good.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of times we don't want to trust touching those superpowers because of how we've wielded them in the past. But those same strengths that got you through your old life, right, that made you survive, what are you, about 70, 75 right now? However, whatever got you this far in life can be seen as a strength. You follow me? It can be seen as a strength. And you can repurpose all of that strength, man, to launch your new life forward, right? And that's why I think Monte is going to help. We'll be here to help, do what we can. But first things first, right? And I think you're on it. You're being in this chat. I'm watching you share, what's real for you right now. And that's probably the most important stuff, is being able to share when you feel the rub between your old life and your new life, right? And being able to take some time. I think you said my last real celebration of anything was in 97, right? Like there's going to be 1,000,001 moments like that when you realize, like, man, nothing that I'm going through now is familiar. This is all new. How long were you down, bro? How long were you down for?
I did 13 straight, but I got over 26 in.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's funny, Sammy, is he recognized. So when he reached out to me, he was roomed up with my nephew, and they were just talking about Racine, and he asked who knew who, and then he was like, "Did you know?" And my nephew was like, "Yeah, it's my uncle," right? So he reached out, and he recognized without me saying anything. He was like, "Brother, I've been in and out a dozen times, and I keep coming back to the same place, and then ending up in the same ending. I don't know what to do, man." And he didn't ask to come stay with me. He had asked if I could look up sober living homes and halfway houses and homes in the Racine area where he could find a new start. And remember, I called you about it immediately. And I called Sammy right after we talked, bro. I called Sammy and I was like, "What should we do?" And he was like, "Well, what do you think you should do? How do you think you can help?" And then my PO, I called my PO and I was like, hey, listen, this is the situation. This is the dude. He wants to transfer down here. Is there any place? She called me back a couple days later and she was like, well, Monty, there's no way they can do that. In Wisconsin, the rules are if he transfers counties without, knowing anybody, he has to have a place to live and a prospective job waiting for him. Otherwise, he can't transfer into Racine County. She was like, and you're on parole, so you can't live together. And I said, yeah, I get it. I said, I'll let him know. And then she called me back like an hour later and she was like, hey, my supervisor said, for you, we'll break the rules. And I was like, what? She was like, my supervisor agrees with you that he needs to get out of Shawano and he needs to start over. And we think it would be amazing if you let him come live with you. And I was like, I got to talk to my wife about that. Like, I can't just let some scumbag come home and move in with me. I don't even
Right?
like douchebag.
Scumbag.
But
I would say though, one thing I would change about what you described, it's not starting over. This is you don't get to start over. This is continuing progress. What you're going to do when we talk about relapse, so to speak, in this program, what we remind folks is that you have the benefit of all your experience, so you're not starting from ground zero.
right.
You're gonna build on the best parts of your wisdom. You're going to build on the best parts of your wisdom and the best parts of what you can learn from your experiences and launch forward. You know what I mean? So it's the mindset that you develop about this process is going to matter. And let me tell you, unless you're a former, a lot of folks aren't going to understand exactly what it's like for us to come out of prison, to be in a new environment, to be having to challenge every fucking thought and reaction that we have.
Right.
They're not going to really resonate with that. A lot of them, in fact, just think it's just changing your mind, but it's much more difficult.
Yeah.
It's a
lot more deep than that.
I remember when I first came home, Sammy, and we were in group and we were talking about beating up toddlers, right? Like fighting a 6-year-old. But you had said then something I didn't believe and didn't really recognize until lately. And you said eventually a lot of the things that you're struggling with now, you won't struggle with later. Like they'll just kind of ease away. And what is the date today? It's the 7th.
It is the 7th, yeah.
In 11 days marks my 10-year anniversary home. And we had, that was a huge celebration for me. I still mark it. It's called Freedom Day, right? And I take my kids out and we have a little celebration for every year that I've been, it just doesn't seem as important anymore because every day is so fucking amazing, right? Like I'm celebrating my life on a daily basis. Like, but some of the struggles that I had, Sean, when I first came home, thought-wise, emotional-wise, I never thought that would change. And now I look back and I realize like that just eased away. I don't have the same thoughts and feelings that I did when I came home, especially like with my anger, right? Like things that would just inflame me and make me just fired up and ready to hurt somebody from before. They roll off me now and I don't even realize it until like a couple days later. I'll be like, damn, I didn't even get mad at dude. And normally I'd want to punch him in his mouth, right? And now it's just like, you know what, man? I didn't even realize it because it wasn't an insult, right? Like,
it's not that it gets easier; it's that you get stronger.
Stronger, right?
You develop strength under that pressure, like working out. If you ever lifted weights, right? 500 pounds is still 500 pounds when you lift it. It's not that it got easier; it's that you got stronger. You had to put the work in. Yeah. And if you don't put the work in on a regular basis, that weakness can come back quick, right? And so I think you're doing 3 things that are really smart right now that you got to keep doing. 1, you acknowledge that there's a change that needs to happen. That's critical. Number 2, you're surrounding yourself with the folks that can help point out perspectives that you need, that you can benefit from, I should say. It's not that you need it, it's that we can see further down your road because we're further down your road. Yeah. We're just calling back and saying, hey, watch out for that hole in the ground, that we don't have to step in it. Now, I don't know if you're a dumb fuck or not, but you might need to step in it. I don't know, but we're still going to be there to pull you out when you do. We all
No.
do it. We all do it. We all do it for each other, right?
He's gonna
step
step in a lot of holes, bro.
We step in a lot of fucking holes around here.
Yeah,
But
me too.
The goal is to not all step in it all at one time, but which we're prone to doing. Why we should never be in the same room all at the same time.
Right.
It's just one of those safety mechanisms. The third thing, and I think this is what's critical, all right? You've acknowledged, you've surrounded yourself, you're being transparent. Remain transparent.
Yeah.
That's formers and guys like me and Monter. There's nothing you could say about your murderous intent, your most fucking, diabolical plan. There's a crazy thought you're gonna have about where to hide the bodies. There's nothing you could say
No.
that we're gonna be like, holy fuck, there's something wrong with you. We're gonna say that, but we're gonna be like, yeah, me too, though. Like we get it, right? And this is why it's a safe place, because it's the one place you can talk about all that shit that nobody else lets you talk about. We've been to all kind of 12-step meetings, and they're like, hey, we don't talk about that stuff here. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with it?
Right.
It's what if my problem isn't drinking today? It's murdering someone. I need to talk about that. Like, help me.
Right.
Right.
We're the guys. We're the group, because it's not just all guys. We're the guys. Monte, take over. I gotta take this call. This might be my tow truck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt, man. That's what this is about. Like all you guys who are in chat right now, Sean, this is about us being there for each other and being able to recognize when one another are not doing well, and being there to help them climb back out of that hole. Yeah, I know, Amy, and I am so glad you did not.
What?
Oh, no, Amy made a comment. She said, Sammy and Monty kept me from murder many times. She's not joking. That broad's a gangster. Anyways, that's what this is about, right? Like, we're going to step in holes, all of us, bro. We're going to hit that road mark. You know what I mean? A lot of us come home and think we can handle things until we hit them. And then we hit them and realize we need someone to pull us out, right? We need someone to come grab us, come pick us up, come get us, reach a hand out to stand us up. And that's what the premise of this whole group is about, is recognizing that there's other people who have the same fucked up, retarded thoughts that we have, and saying, we were there, this is what we did. We're a little bit ahead of you, so we're going to keep hitting our potholes, and we'll pull ourselves out, pull each other out. And that way, when you hit that pothole, we'll remember what it was like in your pothole and what we needed to do. And we can reach our hands out to help pull you back out of that pothole too, right? We're going to be there for each other. Sammy said it in the beginning, really early, about how all of us are going to have our periods of insanity, right? And we don't recognize when we're going off the rails. We don't see it when we're making the mistakes that we make. They're easy. It's not like we go from, making dinner to, hey, let's murder our neighbor tonight, right? There's these little steps that take us towards that, right? In most cases. And as we're going towards that, we don't recognize how far off track we're getting. But those of us who are still sane can see you going off track, right? So the premise of the group is, when we see each other go off that track, reaching out and grabbing them by the shirt and saying, hey, bro, just so you know, you're really far off track right now. I love you. Right? Hey, sis, I'm just letting you know, this is what I'm seeing, do with it what you will. But I'm letting you know that, like, you're really far off track, or it seems to be that you're far off track. We don't make accusations. We don't condemn people. We don't judge where they're at, right? Like, if they're going to fuck up, they're going to fuck up. We just want them to be aware of the fact that they're heading towards that direction, so they can make the choice on their own to come back, to the track, right? To run that rail.
Well, let's give Sean a moment, man. Share anything you want to right now, Sean. If there's anything you want to share, you don't have to, but if you want to give you a chance to.
And you gotta keep your clothes on, Sean.
How's this shit hitting you right now?
I mean,
how's this shit hitting you right now?
I mean, I'm not new to this, the program, nothing's have worked, obviously, this right here is something new to me, of course, but it's just being away from home and my traditions at home, and, the the people, the good people that were good to me, you know, and good for me at home, you know, but there's a lot of bad also though, you know, that I need to stay away from, of course. But, you know, I had a lot of roots there, you know. My family had a big name, you know, reputation, and it's hard to let go of that mainly, you know. And of course, you know, a lot of my shit's up north, you know, but it is what it is, you know, and I'm down here to start, you know, not new, but, you know, just carry on, you know, new memories.
So I want to give you something I gave to Monta years ago, and it's completing the sentence that you use, but I want you to complete it differently from now on, and that's going to be a challenge, right? And every time I or Monta hear you say this, we're going to remind you to add that component to it, right? So you said it's hard, right? It's hard. That's an incomplete sentence, and here's the rest of it that becomes your mantra when you find yourself saying this is hard. You're going to add, but it's necessary.
Exactly. I've heard that before.
You have to.
You live in my house, bro. He's heard it.
You have to add that no matter what. I don't know if you ever read a fortune cookie. I'm going to change everyone's life. I'm going to change everyone's life around the fortune cookie. Anytime you read a fortune cookie, from now on, you have to add in the bedroom. You got to add. So no matter what your fortune cookie says, you read the whole fortune cookie, and then you say, in the bedroom. It's gonna change everything about those fortune cookies, right?
Right.
But when you say it's hard, remind yourself, but it's necessary. Because if you stop at it's hard, it seems bleak and it doesn't seem to have purpose or direction. But when you add it's necessary, you remind yourself of your North Star. You remind yourself of the direction you're heading in. That's why this isn't starting over. It's further down your path, but it's further than you've ever gone. And so it seems like you're out of your element. It seems like there's no end to it. It seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But the number one thing underpinning your recovery from all of that prison time, bro, is hope.
Yeah.
And how do I know you have it? Because you haven't committed suicide, whether it was by cop or by rope. You're alive. So you still have something that's keeping you here. And that's what we want you to hang on to in your dark moments. But you may not even know completely what that is, what your real why is. And even if you told me, I bet you I could take it further with you. Your why is what you're here to discover. And you've eliminated a lot of the noise in your life, where you've been, your reputation, the shit you own. None of that. What? You were in prison for fucking 400 years. None of that means anything.
Right.
None of that means any fucking thing, bro.
It doesn't really.
You won't have that shit in another month if you don't stay on this path.
Right.
Do you follow me? So whatever you're shedding is temporary. I walked out of jail, a prison, with a fucking plastic fucking bag of mail, a blue jean outfit, and $75 East Bay shoes, and some cassette tapes that I smuggled into the fucking trunk because I couldn't let my music go. And today I live a completely different life, man. It's not easy, but it's necessary. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. It's not easy, but I'm gonna tell you, it's not as hard as I fucking thought it would be. But there were moments that were so fucking hard.
Right.
Do you have anything? Hey, let me ask you a question, Sammy, because I was thinking about this the other day. Do you have any object that was sacred to you in prison to today?
I do.
So do I.
I'll be right back. BRB.
Yep. Oh, dude, you got your coffee cup? You got your coffee mug? Man, I miss my coffee mug. I don't even know where it's at, bro. Mine was all tatted up, though. I had decorated and designed on mine. It had a Bigfoot. It had the medicine wheel on it. I went ham on mine. Your box? You got your shoe box? What's in it?
No, that's not my shoe box. It's this thing's kind of hard to open.
Sean, show them what you brought home. Look at Sean still has
Ha!
the old sacred coffee mug.
This thing is fucking hard to open. Let me get in here.
Your cassette tapes.
Oh wow,
Hold on. Hold on.
that's fucking crazy.
Hold on. Let me see. Here we go. You guys ready for a throwback?
Right?
You ready for the throwback? Who remembers that tape?
We can't read that.
No,
I
the
can't.
tape.
See.
Oh yeah,
The
with
silver
the
tape.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
yep.
DLC tape.
To make sure that you didn't
Tamper.
you didn't fucking like fuck with your shit. And then try to see, some of these have my inmate number.
Still
But-
engraved in them.
Yeah, the reason they started doing that was because I had a friend who was wholesaling freestyle music from Chicago, and he would double up the cassette tapes. He would thread in
Yep.
2 tapes into each one. So I got some of these that are like jam packed on one
Yep.
side, right? It's yeah. This is my and I still listen to this shit, man. I still have. This is my yeah. So you
That's
can't
crazy.
see it, but right here is my inmate number.
Yep.
I already know it. 255-632. My Illinois inmate number is in 80502. Yeah. So that's the only thing that survived all these years was my fucking tapes, man. I got a box of them. And
I have,
my military artillery box to preserve them.
I have the eagle feather I was given at a ceremony early in on my bit by the Red Hill brothers when we undressed the eagle and made an eagle staff for their lodge. And it was at Green Bay Mac. And they gave me an eagle feather, and it was funny because and it was immature, but it was a wingtip. And I took it, I beaded it, and then I presented it to the group as a gift. And years later, and I'm talking about over a decade later, I get to Sanger B, and one of the brothers who had been in Green Bay with me had went through there and left a package for me at Sanger B with the native group, and it was all sealed up, and it was my eagle feather. So after over a decade of time, it came back to me, right? And nobody knew what was in the package. It was in our group objects. And it was all sealed up, and it said for Bigfoot, love, and then this brother's name. And I got to Sanger B like 11 years later, after not seeing him and hearing from him, not knowing that he was doing this, not knowing him, he had taken my feather from that place to the next place, and so I got that. It's like for me, one of the things that taught me about that circle coming around, right? Like, things that are supposed to be with you, and the ones that won't aren't gonna be. But yeah, I had my coffee mug, not the big clear one like his, but Sammy, do you remember the little bitty coffee mugs that you got at Dodge? I had that through my entirety of my bit. The inside was blackened. It was an old pink one that had turned almost white colored, and it was black on the inside, and I had tattooed the whole cup up, right? Like I had scratched, Bigfoot in there, and I had a medicine wheel on it, and I had a skull on one side, and I had that throughout the entirety of my bit. I brought it home, and then it ended up disappearing in one of the many moves from my mother's house to here over the last decade of time. Damn, man, it's been a decade. I've been home 10 years.
Dude,
Can't
I've
wait
been home
to say that.
23. I've been home 23 years.
I don't have a period of my life from birth where I had 10 years without an arrest or incarceration. Like, since birth. I've never been home for 10 years before.
Well, you have now, motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Next year it'll be 11.
This is the first month.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. That's how it starts, brother. One day at a time, man.
I'd be in some shit already up north.
No.
Yeah.
But see, you made that choice, bro. How hard was it? Right? Because you were just talking about how hard was it. how hard was it to make the observation and then the decision to come to a totally new environment and pick up your journey from here?
It was just something I knew I had to do something different, man. It's just like, I mean, from where I'm at, from where home is, I mean, sometimes I was doing the right thing and I get somebody to call me in that wasn't, on some bullshit. But yeah, I was on some bullshit myself, but coming down here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I did deserve it, sometimes I didn't type shit, but
Right.
I just figured, the hell with all that nonsense. So come down here. I know I'm gonna be around good people, obviously, because you're around them. So, let's do this shit.
No. Don't judge him by his friends.
Right.
You know what I mean, though.
Look at the douchebag. Look at my douchebag brother, man.
You're right.
Red and I
Right.
have been friends since what? We were 16?
17, 16, yeah.
Listen, Sean, welcome home, bro. And
thank you.
I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yeah,
keep coming around,
sure.
man. We are a resource. There's a lot of us around you, man. You're not alone.
I appreciate that.
Whatever struggles you're facing right now, they're temporary.
Of course.
How much time you do in the hole?
This last time, I was only down for 21 months this last rip, but I spent 5 months of it in the hole.
Yeah. Okay. So my point, the reason I asked that question is, how to wait it out.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You know how to wait it out. If you can survive the hole and know that you got to wait X amount of months or days to get out, in complete solitude and boredom and isolation, you can wait out anything you got to wait out now. And here's the big difference between what you're waiting for. Back then, you were only waiting to keep up what you were already doing. Now you're waiting out to get the benefits of everything you're going to be receiving from the work and change you're making now. Yeah. This is suffering well. You are suffering, but you are suffering well. You follow me?
It's a good suffering.
It's a suffering for a good reason and good purpose and a good outcome. As opposed to going back to prison and suffering for no fucking good reason, for no good outcome, and for no good purpose, right? Other than the same. So when you start feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like this is too much and, fuck this shit, wait it out.
Right.
That's your big thing. Just, I literally used to lock myself in my bedroom like I was locking in. I'd go lock in until the moment fucking passed that I was going to do something stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to be there. We're going to get through this. I have full confidence that you have what it takes to do this. You just got to believe that.
Exactly.
That's the question all men face. Do I have what it takes? And the answer always has to be yes, or let's find out.
Exactly.
You know that fucking attitude that you had to throw on every time you went in there and fucking fist a fly? You got to have a fucking attitude like that out here about what you're doing now. Fuck it. You're already showing that you know how to do it because you said, fuck it, I'm leaving Shawano. You threw your hat up in the wind and took a risk. Those are the kind of risks you got to keep taking.
Yep.
Yeah,
much love to you, brother. Much love to you, man.
Sean, you know I love you, bro. That's why you're here.
It's all live.
Hey, I love watching you get molested by my 3-year-old and crying. Like, it is what it is. No, for real, brother. You know I love you, man. Like, we've been friends since we were 17. You're one of the few people from my old life that I really bonded with throughout my incarceration and my homecoming, right? Like, you get it. Like, you get it, bro. I mean,
all right, brother. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you, guys. Much love and respect.
I'll see you in a few minutes, bro.
Man.
Yep.
So, Monte, we got to start wrapping up here, but I want to talk to Heather real quick. She's sharing a lot of good stuff in here, man. And, Christmas, she said, Christmas sucks for me. It's just a reminder of how much family I don't have anymore. And I'm going to share something, and I share this trying to be as empathetic as possible. And I shared it with you last week. Life is about the living, right? Life is for the living. Forgiveness, and maybe next week we can tackle forgiveness, start to tackle forgiveness. But forgiveness, Heather, I'm bringing this up now because there's in the, maybe you can share the literature with Heather and Monte at some point. But there are three pillars: forgiveness, reconciliation, and redemption. I'm going to share one thing that I've learned about forgiveness. I've learned a lot about forgiveness, but I'm going to share one of those things. Forgiveness has more to do with the future than the past. And so if you're still thinking about the family you didn't have, forgiveness hasn't happened. And I know why it probably didn't. There's a lot of reasons why forgiveness may not have happened yet. But when we continue to live in the past, there are unresolved issues. And most of those issues are probably unresolvable. Like there's no way to make sense out of what's happened. There's no way to make it right. There's nothing anyone could give us to undo it, to make it better even. So forgiveness can't be based on those things. That's right, Amy. My message to you, Heather, or Maria, sorry. My message to you, Maria. Oh, no, Heather, sorry.
Heather.
Yeah, Heather. My message to you is that there will become a day when you're less focused on what you don't have and more focused on what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to happen at some point to find your peace, your healing, and your happiness and your own well-being. And I think next week might be important because we'll start the first step always insinuates forgiveness has to be on the list of things we want to tackle. And so we'll talk about, we'll break through some of the myths around forgiveness, like what are some of the fallacies that we believe are associated with that, and the thoughts and limiting beliefs we have about it that make it hard for us to move forward. So Heather, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Maria, everyone. Amy, thank you, everyone in the chat, for your vulnerability today, your transparency today. Thank you to Sean. Thank you for trusting us and for sharing this space with us. There is more to come. And I think we had the perfect topic for today because it's at the back of everyone's mind. Some of us are glad the holidays are over.
Right.
But that means now we got to start counting down the days before they come again. And I don't want that to be the case for us.
Right.
We're going to change what all this shit means to us because we're going to rewrite. And I know, Heather, I know. And I feel you, man. I feel you so much, man. Like, all I want to do is give away what I've learned and have been taught for the benefit of us, man. And I think you'll find something hopefully useful, practical. I'm going to have Monte send you the literature and start at the pillars, which is in the back, like around page 8.
Nah, I ain't sending her nothing. She can come over and pick up a hard copy. She knows.
There you go. Challenge accepted. You've been called out, Heather. You got to go. In fact, everyone in the chat needs to go to Monte's house.
Don't make it a challenge, bro. Because Heather will show up. Like that's my boo, man. Her and her husband. Those are my hearts, right? She will come here and fuck me up if I ain't got it ready.
I'm still pro naked. I got it. Yeah, let's go.
Hey, I got a special thank you out. I have to hand out today. Like every one of you who's on here, and I went back to look. Every one of you has walked this whole 10 years with me. Everybody who commented today, everybody who came into the chat, you have walked this entire decade with me since I've been home. Like you guys have been there through every struggle I've had, like, and stood by my side. So thank you guys. I can't be more expressive with my gratefulness. Like you guys, thank you for walking through my journey with me. I believe I would have made it this far alone, but I don't think I would have made it this far.
That's a solid no. Hell no. That's a solid.
Hey man, I'm Superman. I would have made it.
That's a fucking solid no. Absolutely not.
I agree.
One thing
I
does
agree.
not represent FA. He does not. His views and ideas are his and his alone. I can tell you, as a third-party witness to the way this fucker has lived, that is a fallacy. That is a fucking fallacy.
And
No.
absolutely correct. I couldn't have made it this far without all the support I've had.
right.
Sammy, thank you, brother. Like you've
Laid
been
at
here.
the feet of the people, man.
You've been here since like my third week home. You've been in my circle, and you were a dick. I couldn't stand you at first. It took me.
You were just soft. I wasn't a dick. I'm the same
Man.
guy I am now. You're just soft.
Ah, baby.
Prison made you soft. You came home all whiny and shit.
You want to say hi to Uncle Sammy?
Hi, Uncle Sammy.
What's up, puppy? Hey, Mateo.
At least he's got pants on.
He's got pants on. All right, I see Alan and Jose coming in from Jalisco, man.
José, ¿cómo está usted, hermano?
Monty, why do you have
All right, I've got to get out of here. I got a tow truck pulling up.
painting? Hi.
Hey, we love you guys. Thank you for joining our live again. Thank you for 10 years of being by my side. We'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, I'm going to enjoy my afternoon with these savages. So
Peace out, guys.
peace out, everybody.